What you doing? Huh? I'm trying to make this brilliant new design, but can't decide how to make it. Silly. You should use the writer's pyramid. What's that? It'll help you build your structure in no time. Though, I'm afraid it can't help your shaky hands. I need it. No. Gimme! You gotta say please! And we're back yet again with another Write With Me Wednesday. Hi guys, it's Miriam, and today we're gonna be talking about something I've made called the Writer's Pyramid. Now this uses elements like whammies, which I did not come up with myself, but I cannot for the life of me figure out who first used the term. Frankly, there are many different ways. Some people say rising action, falling action, the climax, the twist, different words switched around, all meaning the same thing when it comes to an outline. That is employed by the Writer's Pyramid. The Writer's Pyramid is a template for you to use to hone your creativity into something tangible. So grab your favorite hot drink and let's get started. The Writer's Pyramid is a template designed to help you make decisions. It leads you to specific brackets, gives you simplified options so that all those many choices and creativity don't become overwhelming. You can fill it out as much as you'd like. You don't have to complete it all the way through. It's meant to be used at your own discretion, what you need it for. So if you're more of a discovery writer, but you're having trouble detailing a natural world, maybe it's just too many options kind of thing. Well, you can take the Writer's Pyramid and look at its brackets, its subdivisions of choices to make that decision easier when you're choosing a natural law or something else. If you're more of an outliner, this is a system to help you make decisions easier and more efficiently. So first off in the Writer's Pyramid, number 1, choose a principle. This is the backbone of every single story that leads your decisions of what you're going to do. Think about the main emotions that everything evolves around. The brackets that we have for these two are the perspectives, I should say, moral and immoral. And by that, I mean like hero and villain. It's the mindset mentality of the person you're looking through. Principles are built off perspective, so this is to help you get into the mindset of this kind of person, whoever that may be. After you've chosen that, let's say we chose the moral, the hero route. The next is to choose an emotion. Our options are sad. Our options are sad, happy, disgust, anger, fear, surprise, and guilt. For example 1, I chose to go with moral. So hero, we're going with happy. Cool. The next step, create a yes/no question. Ask a yes/no question. For example 1, think about the mindset of the person who you're embodying. For instance, for happy, for the moral route that I chose, I thought of a little girl and I imagined butterflies. She's happy, she's having fun. In example 1, the question I came up with after thinking about a little girl and butterflies was, if butterflies could speak, would people accept them? And I answered no. The underlying principle of that question is people are afraid of the unknown. For example 2, I chose the more immoral route or villain kind of mindset, and I looked at guilt. So what would a villain who's super guilty think or ask about his own reality? What would he think in this scenario? For that, when you think about guilt can cause someone to spiral into such extremes that they can fall into madness. That's kind of where this all came from. The very extreme. Where can we take this? So I use that to make my question. For my question, yes, no, It's, could guilt drive you mad? This is example 2, and I said yes, it can. The underlying principle of that is whether guilt drives you mad or not is up to the person who's bearing it. And so now we have very clear principles. Next step, choose a world. Right, so now we have normal and we have abnormal. So for example 1, we're going with normal, a normal world. Don't need to add any special rules or anything. We need to choose our history, time period, technology, and the people group. I chose to focus on World War I. That's the history time point we're looking at, 1917. Where technology is horses, but there's also cars and radios. And then the location or the people group are the people at the American war front. That's what I chose for example 1. Example 2, going down the more guilt route, I chose an abnormal world. This splits into 2 brackets, environment and natural laws. So now let's decide. So for the environment, we have, it's a space colony on a moon near Froome. That's the name of the planet nearby for this space age. For the people's origin, yes, they're from Froome, but they're on a colony. The resources, which this plays into the natural laws, is Froomite, and it's a super powerful fuel that's also highly combustible. Naturally. For that, it's a combustible, but specifically with water or sweat. So you better be really pasty dry if you're touching that, or use gloves. For the time point, history, we're at Froome. Their home planet, Froome, became uninhabitable 90 years ago. So we don't exactly know what year it is, but we know since the colony was built, we're at Sol 41,063. I whipped out my calculator and typed in, 365 times 90, adding in a couple, leap years. That's how I came up with that number, in case you were wondering. All right, and then their technology is laser lighters, like just little beep, just lasers, atmospheric controls, because they're on a colony, and the people of Froome. That's the people group we're focusing on. All right, third point, choose a main character. When you choose a main character, you have several main points that we're looking at. However, before we get into those, I want to mention that for this section of the template, I actually came across something extremely similar. It was from a book that I was studying in middle school called The Exciting World of Creative Writing by Ruth E. McDaniel. She had an outline that was more specific than this section. I just took out the points that I thought were most relevant and adjusted what I felt that they should be called. It's an adaptation. For this, we have core beliefs, under which we have religion, convictions, and education. For personality, we have base emotion. That's a reference to our beginning 7 or 8 emotions that we started with to decide our principle, choosing one of those as a base for our personality of this character. And then under that, we have unique traits, quirks, tendencies. For our appearance, which is our third bracket in the section, we have a huge list. So let's just rattle them off. Gender, eye color, hair color, skin color, ethnicity, age, general dress, build, hair length and texture, weight, height, and of course the name. Huge list, right? Well, let's get into it. So for number 1 of my examples that we went with, people are afraid of what they don't know, normal world and World War I, going with that theme. For my main character, I'm going with, she was raised Protestant, wants to save people, that's her conviction, to live happily with her family. For personality, I have happy/optimist. I have she hates the cold, is great at British accents for some reason, and sleeps in late. Those are tendencies. For the appearance, I have gender, female. Her eyes are brown, her hair is dark brown, skin, tanned white. Her heritage, ethnicity is Irish. She's age 16. She dresses in a blue dress and black overcoat. She's kind of slender and undernourished. That's her build. For her hair, it's long and very curly, which goes with the Irish ethnicity. For weight, we have 102 pounds. Her height is 5'5", and her name is Rachel. That's a huge list. But that gives us a very clear idea. Who is this character? Now we know. Lastly, I added this as kind of a fun anecdote, if you will. Quirk. She is barely literate. Interesting thing. Got it. For example 2, when we're going with Froome and the space route, our character, he, as part of his religion, is Genki, which is a name I came up with for religion. Basically, those people believe that their home planet, Froome, can be restored, and they're not very popular. His convictions, he wants to see his home planet be restored and see what it used to be like before, it got wasted. For personality, he's a pessimist/doubter. His traits, he's good at patterns and languages come easily to him. He also is a loner. Loner personality. Appearance, he is male. His eyes are green. He has blonde hair, light brown skin. His heritage or ethnicity is Fumian. He's 11 years old. He wears a dirty tracksuit with goggles. So I imagine them be cute inventor goggles. Sorry, I do not possess those, so they're swim goggles, but that's okay. His build is also slender, undernourished. I imagine him like living on the streets, but it's a space colony, so whatever that looks like. His hair is short and straight. His weight is 70 pounds, which is pretty, average-ish. Maybe a little under. And then his height, 4'11", and his name is Zinc, because space. Oh my gosh, Becca, you're gonna so embarrass me with that, aren't you? Okay. His quirk is that he can read ancient. So that's fun. Okay, next, let's go to point number 4, and that is assign whammies. I mentioned this a couple times. People have different names for this. This is the one that I was taught, not sure where it came from, but we're going with it. So, the change, embrace the destiny, dark moment or twist, final battle, tying of loose ends. Those are the 5 points we're going for. For our examples, example 1, we're going with Rachel. Remember, we're in American times, World War I. So when things change is April, Rachel's father, who's an army officer, is deployed to Europe to join the battle because America's just joined the war. And a few weeks later, he goes MIA. Dum, bum, ba. Okay, Rachel, this is the second point, embrace the destiny. She decides to leave her hometown. She goes to Europe to find her father. 3, which is the dark moment or twist, is Rachel finally arrives at the battleground that her father went missing, and she speaks to a man who reports he's passed away, that he passed away during the battle. Soldiers from the front are canvassing the area. Now Rachel must sneak away before she's discovered. But of course she is discovered and gets captured. That's fun. Number 4, final battle. I invented this boy named Cameron because I thought, boy with girl. Cameron, the boy she's been traveling with, frees Rachel, and the pair of them flee to a hidden cave where they find a will, a little letter left behind. And it happens to be from Rachel's father.
He's alive.
Which states that if he survives, he'll go to this certain place, this like hill, which naturally they go for. That's for the final battle because it's not more about fighting as it is her discovering that her father is still alive and her fighting to find him. So the fifth point, tying of loose ends, Rachel and Cameron go to the place specified in the will, and there she reunites with her father. Yay! And they all get to go home happy. And Rachel may now have a childhood crush that sticks around. Happy ending! Yay! Now, for example 2 on the whammy set, Day Things Changed. After 90 years, the lunar colony near Fiume is falling apart. People are getting worried that the frumite, which we learned explodes with contact of water and is a powerful fuel, is running out. It's running the station. And in a few weeks, it'll be gone. But our main character, unaware, Zinc, he has a nasty argument with his brother and goes to his favorite spot between the bulkhead and the water recycler. He hears a strange noise coming from the water recycler and finds a manuscript tucked into one of the pipes. Now, that has more context than the other one, especially with worlds that are abnormal. It's often necessary to add more detail on those kinds of things. And frankly, I'm more passionate about abnormal worlds than historical fiction ones. I don't write historical fiction, but for the sake of diversity, we did 2 outlines and one of them's historical fiction. Let's keep going. Embrace of Destiny. We are at Zinc. We are at Zinc. So Zinc looks at the paper. He discovers that it's in an ancient dialect, and he is one of the few people who's able to read that. For some reason. No one really knows why yet. The script is from an ancient who believes that after about 70 years, Fiume would be habitable again. So there's this method to find out, like this special telescope thing, and he goes and he sees that there is proof that his beliefs that Fiume can be re-inhabited and everything, it's possible. So now he's going to try to make that happen. Dark moment. Civil war has broken out on the station. Everybody's fighting and debating. Should we try to go back? Should we try to just go to their moon's core and mine more frumite, which is their fuel? Turns out that that's what destroyed their planet in the first place, which the higher-ups are hiding. Zinc is trying to take the frumite in order to power some ancient system that will bring them back to the planet. But his brother, who he had an argument with, stopped him. 4, final battle. He battles with his brother, 11-year-old and a slightly older than 11-year-old, battling. And slowly, because they're next to frumite that's been exposed, those fumes are slowly making them go mad. Because that's our principle, or rather, that's what we're focusing on, is guilt and madness. Those are the themes. His brother reveals that he once tried to bring everything back to the station, or rather, his brother once tried to make Fiume habitable again, or did some experiment with his parents to see if that was possible. His parents ended up passing away in their attempt, and so his brother, who I named Zane, blames himself for that. And that's the guilt that's driving him crazy. Number 5. Zinc and his brother Zane reconcile. They realize there can be hope and a brighter future. The Civil War comes to an end, and everything's revealed about frumite and mining. It's what destroys planets and how they can go back. And they decide to go back. They build a new colony on their once home planet, which is now their home planet, and build a bright future, a new civilization. Point 5 in the pyramid is write a teaser. And we'll get to that next time because I gotta go to work. Bye, Editor Becca. Okay, so next step, write a teaser. This is an important step for you to take all the different details that you have extrapolated and put them into a condensed format. It's not a summary because a summary is just A, B, maybe a 0.1 and you're done. However, with a teaser, how are you going to explain this to somebody? Condense your thoughts into an exciting way. That's what the teaser's for. It's also often put on the back cover of a book or in summary. If you're looking at a book, it'll have a summary of what it says, which is what is going to make people want to read your book. So think about the most exciting aspects. However, only think about the beginning. Most teasers only involve the first and second whammy, the big change and the embrace of destiny. When you do that, you have a clear start and a clear end goal. However, you don't spoil things in between because you didn't get to the end. So that's the portion of the story that your teaser needs to focus on, the first and second whammy. I wrote teasers for each of my outlines, and we're going to start with Rachel's. So, get your popcorn, make it dark, nice and cozy, roll film. Rachel's heart dropped when she heard her father was being deployed. Yesterday morning, America had just joined in the war against Germany, but now it was taking him away. Week after week, she awaited his letters, but one day they didn't come. He'd gone MIA at the Battle of Cantigny. Hurt and confused, Rachel stood in the post office, cradling the Army's report. She took a deep breath, wiped her eyes, and neatly folded the report before tucking it inside her satchel. Her next stop, the train station. All right, that was pretty cool. It was pretty intense. Immediately immerses you in the world. I'll talk about notes after this next one. So, sip your tea and roll film 2. Zink sat between the bulkhead and the water recycler, his favorite spot when he was upset. Zane doesn't get it, he whispered to his knees. I was just trying to help. He replayed the incident in his mind. The 11-year-old had signaled the door to open so Miss Elisa could walk through. She was carrying a bunch of old junk from the storage pod when a strange tube clattered on the ground. When Zink picked it up, he saw some words chipped into it. Most people called it ancient chicken scratch, but it just made sense to him. But why? No one could read it. He didn't notice his foot was in Miss Elisa's path, and she fell, spilling her supplies everywhere. The entire colony scolded him, including his older brother, saying, "Ugh, rudder faces." Zink kicked the water recycler, which made a weird squeak. He jostled the pipes to see what was making the noise, and a scroll of rolled up papers fell out. He opened it and saw more chicken scratch. An ancient log? But who wrote this? Could it be? Alright, now let's talk about that. So for the teaser, we have clearly the day things change when Rachel, her father leaves, and then she's gonna go find him. And the second one, Zink is obviously not too popular. For some reason, he can read this ancient dialect, and he's gonna figure out what this ancient log means. Both of them are valid, and both of them are done in different styles, somewhat. For Rachel's, we have more of an overview of the world, her circumstances, and what she's going to do about it. For Zane, we have a more experiential type of teaser, where you're literally sitting with Zane, and you're wondering why he's upset, and you're just like, oh, this poor kid, he was just trying to help, and then he got scolded for it, and then now there's just ancient text that's really cool, and he can read it. Why? So those two different types of styles can be used to give different vibes, especially for your story. In your teaser, you want to give very clearly not just your goals, but your writing tone. If this is a book that's meant to be funny and quirky, then throw a funny, quirky joke, something that you've used or similar, in your teaser so that your readers, your viewer, know exactly what they're getting into. If I'm looking for a book on romance, I'm not gonna go pick up the book cover that has a bunch of war scenes and has just like soldiers and nothing to do with romance at all. Or if it's a Western and it's like this girl who's hugging a horse. That's the picture. I'm not gonna go for it because I know it's not romance. Book covers is a whole other world that we can talk about another day. However, in the same manner, you want to be very clear in your teaser the kind of book that you are advertising. But you're not just advertising, you want the viewer to experience. So giving that vibe of experiencing the vibe instead of showing it off, like, hey, you should come over here, that subtle change or sometimes subtle change, will be the difference between if somebody picks up your book and decides they want to open the first few pages or not. And that's very crucial when it comes to making your books get out there, to creating an environment that somebody wants to spend hours of their time reading what you've written. All right, guys, so that was the writer's pyramid. We focused a lot on the individual points. For the writer's pyramid as a whole, it is meant to help you make decisions easier, more effectively, help you get cut through all the web messes of your creativity, to give your creativity scaffolding to stand on, which is similar to deciding, but at the same time, scaffolding will help it stay there, not just come by, woohoo, forget what you were doing. It's designed to help if you're a newer writer and you're trying to figure out your style, you're looking for resources to use as a piece to create whatever wonderful story you have in your head that hasn't been articulated yet. For those of us who have published, you don't have to fill out all of it. It's just meant as a resource that offers it in a clear, kind of fun, because you can do whatever you want with it, way. Like I said, I used different things that I learned. This was over my last 5 years of writing, and it has room to grow, so you can grow it. So get out there and get writing.